So today, we're going to be working on Mist of Grianan, fixing a couple issues with the map. We left it in a bit of a state of disarray. So as you can see here, I've went through, I've exchanged all these merchants were broken, every single last one. You can talk to them now. Everything's pretty good here in the city. What we're going to do is get the Gothos Crypt up and running. And you probably have no idea what that is. It's a mid-level dungeon on the map. And we are just going to get it functioning again. So we'll kind of take the scenic route there. You can kind of get an inkling for the map. I'm thinking of releasing it as soon as I wrap it up. It's been ongoing since 2015. It's quite a while. And here we are, the Gothos Crypt. So there's several components to this dungeon which we have to get going here. There's a mid-boss, and then there's a larger boss, the Gothos Wraith, which is a Reaper-like entity. So I need to get that going. But first and foremost, what we're going to want to do is scope out this area up here. So for the actual dungeon, to make it so you need a key to enter into the main boss's chamber. Otherwise the doorway will be blocked. And this is upon each entry. So if you're playing multiplayer, the door does not stay open after you go in. So, first and foremost, actually, before we start, we should really model the boss key. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So down this hallway to the right is the main boss's room. So as you come up on this door, you'll see that it is blocked by a dropper. Now, this dropper will only open if you put in a certain tripwire hook. So, give myself tripwire hook, and this is the important part, custom model data 1. So as you can see at the moment it doesn't look any different. However, if you look under here, you can see it as one NBT tag, which is the custom model data that we gave it. So as you can see, there's not really any way in here, not even with the new fancy shift mechanic. So the only way is to clear this block. When you're playing the map, you'll be in adventure mode. So how will you get rid of it? Put the key in, of course. The instant you drop the key in any of the slots, the obstacle is removed, and you may enter. And we will have the summoning mechanic here for the boss, which we'll get to in a moment. But first and foremost, we need to model a key. So here we are in Blockbench. I've already opened up a file. For those of you who don't know, Blockbench is a very good modeling resource, for free I might add. Originally, the only two on the market were Mr. Crayfish's model creator, and then I believe it was called BD Cubic Craft, something of that nature, which, while it looked very good, was a paid app, which I can afford, but I'm more of a hobbyist. But anyway, so let's get on with our boss key. Now, you can pull up, if you're going to add a boss key in anything, if you're thinking of modeling it, it's usually best to have a resource. I think I'm just going to go with the basic skeleton key, maybe with the jewel inside of it. So, first things first, create the main body of the key. 1, 2. There we go. Perfectly balanced. Alright. So here's the main body of the key. Might move that back just a little bit. And I'm just going to duplicate the element. And I think I'll actually leave a little bit of overhang. I think that looks good. Add a little detail. Alright, so we've got this. Now, to import some textures. Now, I'll probably make a resource pack guide at some point, but you can add your own textures. If you want to color your own, UV map them, works perfectly fine. Personally, I prefer using the default textures just because they just load in automatically when you're in game. You don't have to mess with any sources, any file paths, nothing of the sort. So, what colors do we want? So we'll add an anvil. We'll go with endstone. That sounds good. And then for the pupil, redstone works pretty good for texturing, so I'll leave it at that. So, I can just select all of this, but now, oops, forgot one. You can just add the texture, and you're good. No hassle, no nothing. That just leaves the eye. And that's pretty good. So, the model is saved. Now, we have to switch over to Atom in order to tell the texture or the model where to go. We just switch us over to here. So what we want is the base Minecraft. We want models, item. Now, as you can see, we don't actually have the tripwire hook in here yet, so I'm just going to add that right quick. Okay, so here we are. We have tripwirehook.json. This is the default one. So what we're going to want to do is grab another thing for reference. Right, so go back to tripwire hook. Put in overrides. Oh, I'm missing a square bracket. There we go. Okay, so this little chunk of code I added, on default it goes for tripwire hook, and then when it's custom model data 1, which is what we gave ourselves earlier in game, we want this to be boss key. Save. And I believe that should work. And as you can see, we now have a delectable boss key. Now, there's something I neglected to do, which was change the orientation and scale of the boss key. So, to fix that, we're going to go back into Blockbench, and we're going to go under Display. So this is what the key will look like in my hand. Move that down a bit. So first person, this is good. Looks like you're about to put the key into something. And head slot we don't care about. Frame also doesn't matter. Here is the important part. So what we're going to do, turn the key to its side. I generally like to go to 90, so you get a very orthographic kind of view of its side. You can scale it up if you want, or down. Makes it a little harder to see. So there we go. That's our inventory, crafting matrix, and our HUD. All looks good. And we can just overwrite the model. Refresh our textures. And we're golden. So, now that I've got the key, like so, I can put the key right into the boss door lock, and it opens. We can enter now. Now, onto the main show. So, a little bit of history here. Back here is the original redstone, which I should probably turn off, so we're not causing lag or anything of the kind. So this is what ran it prior. I believe it was 1.9 to 1.12. The map has been in existence since 1.8, to give you another idea of how old it is. Now, we're not going to be using pretty much any of this. What we're going to do is, first things first, we're going to take this guy out, because he is no longer required. Like so. And this is just to get the coordinates. Okay, so those are our main coordinates. We're going to hop back into Adam. And we'll open that up. So this is the boss function. This is used for the spider. And instead of typing this all out again, I'm going to just retrofit it. So, there's a couple variables we have to look at here. We have spider spawner, we have spider, and then we have spider checker, as well as spider leaf. These are all just custom tags I gave them. Spider spawner, we're going to change to... Actually, what I can do is I can replace with Wraith. Let's spell that correctly. And we will just replace all. So that's done. We now have Wraith everywhere. We'll have to make sure we give these entities the appropriate tags. But execute at Wraith spawner. If entity active is 1, run execute at. We'll have to change this summon. It's probably going to be a skeleton. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to make it a wither. Wither skeleton. Unfortunately, I got to get rid of all of this NBT data. I will add it back in after I configure that. For the coordinates, I'm just going to snag those coordinates from MC that we just popped up. And there we go. That will spawn it right on the base plate there. And we can copy these coordinates for the spawner as well. Wraith spawner. Now, we're not actually going to have a teleport out. Some of the bosses have a teleport out option because it's one way in. But for this one, you'll be able to just escape out of a ventilation shaft back into the crypt. So that's not really needed. So to comment out a function, we use the hashtag, and we're all set on that front. In fact, I can go ahead and comment out everything that has to do with leaving. I think I'll leave this attack in shadow. And we'll just get rid of the passengers. Like so. Active effects, that's fine. Some that. That looks good. Now, data merge. So this was animation for the spider model, which we don't need anymore because it'll just have a player head. So we've leaned down the code quite a bit. Now, the next thing we need to fix is the boss bar. Originally, we didn't have boss bars. I decided to add them in to let people know how screwed they are. In game, we do /boss bar add Wraith Gothos Wraith. Now that we added it, is set. Wraith color. I think purple is very fitting. Ooh, that's a little dark. So we will do... What is blue then? Okay, that's good. So blue will work. We want to change the max. I believe the max HP was 200. Like I said, mid-level boss. That's a fair amount of health though. So if we do boss bar, Wraith players at all, there we go. We have our boss bar. I guess we could style it a bit. $20. So each one of these represents 10, I believe. That looks good. Just for a little more detail. So that is good. If we hop back over to our code, we can see boss bar. We will set that to Wraith. And I just select multiple Wraith. Looks good. Alright, so we'll be able to test this out in a moment. Limit 1, tag equals Wraith health. So that's what it was. Oh, one more. Wraith. Save. And I think we are all set. First off, I'm going to clear this. And just up top here, kind of out of the way, I'm going to do summon, armor stand, no gravity, 1 marker, 1 invisible, 1 tags. So the tag we want is Wraith Checker. I believe that was the name. That is correct. So we got Wraith Checker. No marker visible. I believe that's good. Some new armor stand, and as you can see, it's just floating there. So we're all good. And we're going to scoreboard players set that entity tag equals Wraith Checker, and we're going to set it, I believe it uses lowercase counter. So the counter is when the boss is on the field, it's constantly setting the counter back to 100. When you defeat the boss, the counter then starts degrading in value until it reaches 0. At 1, it will respawn the villagers that are responsible for spawning the boss, giving you about 5 seconds in between each match, 5 seconds of downtime before you can summon the boss again. You can switch this however you want. 20 ticks is a second, so 100 ticks gives you 5 seconds. You can set this to minutes, whatever you want. But I do believe we're all set, so we're going to hop back over into MC, and we're going to set this guy's counter to 100, and then reload. And you can see our spawning mechanic has taken hold. And if we right click this, we get NANI? A lot of wither skeletons. What's going on here? So the skeletons that it's spawning do not have the tag Wraith, so for testing purposes, I'll just add it. Wraith, save. Comment this out, we don't need it. Oof, that's a lot. Alright, reload. So now, when we right click this, we get one, and notice a couple of things. He's running off, he doesn't care. If you look up at the top, you'll see that our health is tremendously low already. We've put ourselves in easy mode. The reason this is, it doesn't have any MBT data, its health is at the base, which according to this, if these are 10 increments, you can see it has 20 health, which is the default. So if I go over here and give him a whack, it begins depleting until he's dead. So all those functions are working, and that's pretty much the basic system. Oh, one more thing. We are going to want to add a command that replenishes the block at the entrance. So what we're going to do here is we're going to execute at entity tag equals Wraith if block, we're just going to grab the block right quick, there is air, run set block, also there, and we want to do dropper facing up, custom name, and good. So what this does is when the boss is summoned, if it's an air block there, aka if you've unlocked the door, it will then lock it back up behind you. So if we hop back over to the game, get rid of all this. So we've unlocked the door and are inside. Reload. So now if I go up here, I summon our Skelly Bro. And if we look behind me, you can see that it has locked up and it is boss room lock. So just show you I'm not cheating you. Put anything else in, it won't open. You need the key. Now, of course, once you're inside, you can get out over here, where we have the crawling mechanic, and this will deposit you right at the entrance to this room. And it's one way, unfortunately. There's no means of getting back in on the other side, meaning you'll have to go get another key. But if you run into a pinch, you can escape from here, and obviously a tall wither skeleton will not be able to follow you. Where the devil did he go? Take him out. And that pops back up. Let's give ourselves a key. It's farther back than I thought. I guess if you can stockpile keys, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that in there, if you can stockpile them or not, but if I do leave it in, you can just drop your key back in and walk out the front door, I suppose, like a true boss yourself. But yeah, I think we'll leave that there. Next time we get in, I'll have gone on MC Stacker and gotten the boss data. If you don't know what MC Stacker is, it's a great resource, not just for summoning entities, but working with pretty much any command at all, especially give, set block, things of that nature. So when we return, I will have that data input into the function, we'll add some special attacks, and after that it'll just be manipulating boss loop and adding our villager friend. I guess we'll wrap that here. Thank you for watching.